consumption is higher than in the morning. The comparison between two parts. Or we could have just a statement such as during the night energy consumption is high. And to make such a statement, you really need to compare that part of the day with the rest of the day. So that is also some kind of comparison. Now, how we set about to make functions to map, to model this? Well, the first thing that we needed to, a little bit more explanation. For example, we have the consumption during the midday is high, and we have these values, and in the midday we have a consumption of, an average consumption of 40, for example. Now, this sentence, the consumption during the midday is high, does not make, here you cannot say anything. In this situation, you could say that the consumption during the midday is high, that it is a true statement, because in this context, in this what I will call frame of reference of a day, this value of 40 is significantly more than the other values in the day. But when we have this situation, where the variance in the day is much bigger, this significance, or 40 is not so much, well, the consumption of 40 is not considered high. And for the other types of sentences, when we have a comparison between two parts of the day, between, for example, morning and midday, and you would say, for example, the consumption in the midday is higher than in the morning, would be true for this situation, but in this situation it would be actually equal, because morning and midday could be considered more or less equal. So this led to some kind of frame of reference is needed, some kind of context in which you are looking, which gives, which must be considered in order to give a meaningful interpretation to the numbers. Now, to model this frame of reference, we did something very similar. That is just to check what is the maximum and the minimum value in a day. And that is what is put here also. You check, well, the variance is the maximum and the minus the minimum. And we used this to model the first type of comparisons that we had, which is a part of the day compared with another part of the day. Well, then you get something like this. The input is, well, you have a part of the day and another part of the day, and you are comparing them to each other. And then you can label already if it is lower than, equal to, or higher than. You may be wondering, how did you choose the value of B? Well, that was like that. And it worked. Well, this is the first type of comparison. With this, we can already label sentence or can generate sentences like, in the morning the consumption is higher than in the afternoon, or whatever of these comparative sentences that we have. Well, now we have the other types of sentences also that we want to make. Something like, in the morning your consumption is low. Well, we use the same variance in the interval of the day over these 5 averages. And we make these, we design this membership function when it is low, when it is medium, when it is high. And the points A, B, and C are 20, 50, and 80% of the variance. Okay, and for example, for a day of data, we have 5 averages. 5 averages. One is the minimum, one is the maximum. As you can see here, the morning was the maximum, and the midday was the minimum. And in this case, for this particular day, the morning was labeled as high consumption, and the other 4 parts of the day, midday, afternoon, evening, and night, were labeled as low energy consumption. Okay, so now we have our basic sentences for a simple, for a day of data. So for a day of data, we have, well, how many sentences do we have? We have, for the comparative sentences, a part of the day compared with a different part of the day. You can compare the morning with the 4 other parts of the day, and then the second part of the day with the 3 other parts of the day for new comparisons. So that's how we get 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, 10 different types of comparisons times 3 different labels, which is higher than, equal to, or lower than, which is 30 sentences of type A. And for the other situation, we have 5 different intervals, morning, equal, blah, 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 and 3 different labels, low, high, and medium. So that's 15 sentences. Now, and this is for a day. But we have 2 months of data in the invoice, which is sent every 2 months. So that's about 60, 70 days of data. How to summarize this? Well, you can also represent all these sentences in a matrix or table like this. And all of these sentences, for example, for day 1 you have them, well, 30 plus 15, 45 sentences. And all of these sentences, they have a membership value attached to them. So the consumption is medium in the morning, is 0.2 for this day. And you can summarize this all in this table. Now, you have a database of all these types of sentences, and you want, you can also, for example, what do I want to tell? Okay. Well, these membership values of these sentences, you can also interpret them as some kind of truthfulness value, or some kind of truth value of this sentence in this database. So on day 2 is 0.8 true that the day has a medium consumption in the morning. Now, if you want to know, you can also take, for example, if you want to know in this database how much true this sentence is, you can take the average of all these values, and then you get some kind of value which indicates the truthfulness of this sentence in this database. This is what Jaeger calls a quality in agreement. The quality in agreement of this sentence in this database of sentences. And that's exactly also what this formula expresses. The quality in agreement is the average of all these values in the table. Is this also clear? See? Okay. Well, so now you can have in the beginning have about 60 or 70 days of data, and you can now reduce them to one number per sentence for all those 60, 70 days. Okay, the nice thing about this quality in agreement is that you can also attach linguistic labels to them quite easily. For example, if the average of all these values is 1, then that would mean that for all the days, well, let's take this one, which is more expressive. If the value for high in the morning is 1 for all the days, or is 1, the quality in agreement is 1, then that means that for all the days, the consumption in the morning is high. If it is 0, then it would mean that for all the days, the consumption in the morning is low. And that's how this quality in agreement measure can be linguistically labeled quite easily. If the quality in agreement is, well, near 1, then you could say that nearly all of the days your consumption is high, or whatever sentence you have. And if it is near 0, then few, and well, all the other labels follow similarly.